Wreck yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh boy. Okay, hi everybody. We thought we would sit down and kind of introduce ourselves and tell you why we're doing a YouTube channel on our journey to become parents and why our story is maybe important to you. Okay. Anyway, we have a puppy. You may hear her. She makes lots of noise. And she is 7 months old, and so she's like all over the place. But let's do this. Ready? I'm Sarah DeBruin, and this is
Eagan DeBruin.
We've been married for 5.5 years.
Yes.
We've been together for 6.5.
Yes.
And Eagan is
Trans.
freaking love him. Eagan is trans, and I identify as pansexual. We'll have a whole video about our sexuality and coming out story at another time, but just to give you a brief overview of who we are, I am the youngest of 3. I have 2 older brothers. They are both married, and I have 6 nieces and nephews. Between the 2 of them, they each have 3 children. And I love my nieces and nephews. And my parents are divorced. They've been divorced since I was 7. So I grew up with a single mom, and she's amazing. She's a rock star. And she has always loved and supported me. So I grew up LDS, and I served a mission in San Jose, California. If you want more information about my mission, just ask. I can do another video about my mission. And some of that will be included in my coming out story. So anyway, so I'm 38. I have never had any children. I've never tried to become pregnant. So this is all of this pregnancy stuff is a new experience for me, but I've always wanted to be a mom. Ever since I was little, I just remember wanting to just be a mom. I didn't want to do anything else but be a mom. So, that's a little bit about my upbringing. What about you?
So I'm the youngest of 2. I have an older brother. I also am raised by a single mom. My dad left at a very young age. We can, again,
that's another video.
More into that. But yeah, I have 4 nephews, and
were you raised religious?
I was not really raised religious. I was raised religious until my dad kind of left, and then that made the church going very awkward. We were raised in a very small church. It's a Dutch Reformed church, so both my parents came over from Netherlands, so it made it a very niche community when they got divorced. So that kind of threw my mom off of going to church because she heard all the time of them getting divorced and felt like people picked one side or another. I did a lot of religious studies growing up. My mom ended up remarrying when I was around 11. She met him when I was 9, and he's LDS, and so
he's in jail now. So fun fact.
So I that kind of broadened my mind to different religions. I had never really, and growing up in an area that people were mostly religious, I didn't have a whole lot of friends because I wasn't LDS. But yeah.
You had friends in the church, though. Like, you would go to Young Women's all the time. You'd go to girls' camp, and...
Eventually, I did go to girls' camp.
That's scandalous stories.
But yes, I also forgot to mention that I am 35. And
He's never tried to have a baby either.
I never really wanted kids.
Just saying.
Until I met Sarah. So this has been a new journey for me all in itself when it comes to thinking about having kids. was raised in a dysfunctional family. So for me, it was never one of those things that I was like, I want kids so I can. I mean, I did foster care, so that was always kind of a possibility for me in the back of my head of like being with somebody and ending up like taking care of other people's kids. But having my own kids.
You just didn't want to pass on your genes, right?
Yeah, and then like the thought of raising something from a baby, where you're like the sole determining factor of how that kid ends up.
Because if it's someone else's kid, then hey, we're not swearing in the videos. Because if it's someone else's kid, then you can blame all the issues on them. Anyway, he keeps getting up because the dog's chewing on the what's it called?
It's a rug.
The rug. Gosh. Okay, well, let's talk about my health issues because the brain fog, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So I have Hashimoto's disease, which is a hypothyroid disorder. It's the autoimmune side of the hypothyroidism. I'm also hypoglycemic. I border on pre-diabetic depending on my test results, but mostly hypoglycemic. And I have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which adds to the hypoglycemia, the insulin resistance. There's an aspect to PCOS that causes insulin resistance. So, I have those things going against me. So, with Eagan being trans, the PCOS, not ovulating, I am in my second cycle of tracking ovulation, but I haven't had a peak yet. So I'm on week 2 in my cycle. So the chances of having a peak are low. But with the hypoglycemia, the Hashimoto's, the PCOS, and Eagan being trans, we have to have some intervention. So that's why we're doing fertility. And because I've never tried to have a baby, I needed to figure out if I was even going to be able to be fertile. So the first step was to track my ovulation. And we've been doing that. This is our second month doing that. Eagan works for Amazon. He is currently on workman's comp. He was injured in December. Do you want to tell him a little bit about that? Just a little bit.
I was lifting something. I ended up tripping over my feet, tried to catch myself, and it tore my abdominal muscle.
So he's been trying to work. We won't go into great detail about Amazon because it's a sore subject. But he's been re-injured subsequently. And so now he is on workman's comp. We haven't received a paycheck yet, so that's difficult.
Stressful.
Yeah, super stressful. But I am a nanny, and I work for a great family. I love them to bits. And I help with their first grader. They have 2 girls. One is in first grade, and she is doing virtual school. And then I have a pre-K little one who I'm trying to get her ready for kindergarten the best we can. So I thoroughly love my job. And so with my job, I can pay all the bills, all the monthly bills, which is good. So we're doing okay there. We just need to figure out, we need Eagan to get better. He has an appointment with a muscle specialist this coming week. So hopefully we'll figure things out from there.
And then when it comes to what I'd like to do, so I've been going to
This
school.
guy's got big plans.
Been going to school to become a social worker.
He got his associate's degree last summer, which was a huge deal.
Only took like 10 years. But yes, finally got the associates. COVID has put a wrench so far in going for my bachelor's. The school that I was trying to apply for wasn't accepting students due to COVID. Long story short. And so that's kind of put a wrench in my plans of going forward for the bachelor's. At this point, it's been kind of a wait and see game as well with wanting to try to get Sarah pregnant. I believe in tarot readings and had a tarot reading done that said I kind of needed to put school on hold for a bit and focus mostly on trying to get her pregnant and having a baby, because it'd be overwhelming to try to do both school and having a newborn baby, which has always been my fear, that I wouldn't really be able to be around as much as I wanted to be with working and school and having a baby.
And we're lucky Amazon does have really good insurance. That's one of the reasons he's been trying really hard to stick it out at Amazon. They have insurance that's added on to like their regular insurance called Progeny, right? Isn't that what it's called? And they do cover one complete round of up to IVF. You just have to pay your copay and your out-of-pocket max, which ours is $6,000. So we would only pay up to $6,000 to have a complete round of IVF. With Eagan being trans, we'd have actually more benefits because he can get some benefits through being biologically a female. So we're hopeful that things will work out with Amazon, that we can do that. The financial aspect to having a baby this way is quite daunting, and so luckily I have some amazing people that I work for that have helped us a lot financially in preparing for this. But it's so daunting. One round of IVF is upwards of $20,000. So, and most insurance companies don't pay for it. So
that's not even including the sperm.
Yeah, that doesn't include the sperm. And the sperm is anywhere from, what we were looking up, it's $1,000 a vial. Mm-hmm. And you need multiple vials. Mm-hmm. So
we were thinking about like $9,000 for just sperm.
Yeah. So what the California Cryobank is the cryobank we've been looking into. We actually won a free vial of sperm from them back a few years ago, and they so it depends on what type of artificial insemination you're doing. There's different types. There's ICI, there's IUI, and there's IVF, and the vials of sperm are different depending on the type that you need. So IVF is half the price, but you need they tell you to buy 2 vials of sperm, so it's basically the same. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what type you are trying to do. They also recommend that you purchase all the vials of sperm that you think you're going to need up front,
so that you can guarantee that they're from the same donor. Because if you want to have the same dad,
they have lots of people on the wait list trying to get vials. Because if you don't use all the vials, they will buy them back at 50% the rate that you paid for them. So they have people on wait lists trying to get vials of sperm from specific donors. So they recommend that you buy everything that you need up front, which is expensive. Luckily, they do. The California Cryobank, this is not sponsored by the California Cryobank, but they do offer, if you purchase 4 vials of sperm up front, they give you a year free storage. If you do 8 vials, they give you 3 years storage for free. Another sperm bank that we were looking into, wasn't it called Fairfax?
I think so, yeah.
They offer only a couple months free storage. Mm-hmm. So just the storage fee can add up for the sperm. But anyway, that's kind of off topic. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so with all of those things, Eagan he actually wants to get a doctorate degree. I don't think he believes he's ever going to reach it, but I think he can do it, and I think he'd be amazing. And the reason he wants to do that is because...
Well, as being a trans person, I've gone through this process of finding out things that have to be checked and balanced in order to go along your process. So PhDs, especially in the state of Utah, are the only people that can write your letter of recommendation for your top surgery. So I want to be a therapist that specializes in abuse, rape recovery, and LGBT issues. The reason why those are so specific is because I had to see somebody specifically for my abuse and rape recovery when it comes to my childhood, and I had to see somebody else specifically for my gender issues. I don't know why you can't see one for both, so I want to be that person.
Why don't you pick her up? The puppy is very sad. We blocked her into the kitchen so that we could do this and she wouldn't be chewing on everything. But now she's sad. She wants to be part of the show. Can we say hi, Coco? This is Coco. She is a mutt. She has Labradoodle or golden doodle, black lab, and Australian heeler is what we've been told. And she's pretty darn cute. We pretty much love her to bits. Yeah, say hi.
No, you can't get on the
You can't
table.
get on the table. Say hi, BB. She was just spayed, so that's why she's naked down there. But we love her. Well, that's it for today. If you guys have any questions about our story or there's things that you want us to tell you about, just let us know. We appreciate you watching and have a great rest of your day.